You know, it's a very, very, very special Sunday today. It's a very, very special super Sunday. You know why it's a super Sunday? Not because of sports. I don't give a shit about sports. It's because we've got a brand new podcaster.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god, who could it be?
But before we get to him, I'm of course gonna, introduce the other two, I guess. Right next to me, as always, is a grocery store with demons in it.
Hey, y'all.
And over there is a like with too many sevens.
I guess.
Alright, and that's the way it is. But we're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk about Derek.
Hi.
Derek!
Derek.
Oh, that's nice, Derek. That's nice. I just gave you that grand entrance, and you just, give me that again. Give me that line again.
What line? I'm just quoting
okay.
Bob's Burgers. So I don't know what you want.
He's a real kidder, isn't he, folks? Anyway, Derek actually does a lot for the group. He's a very technical person, science and sorcery and wizardry. Well, what is it that you do, actually?
I work on Frontier Zero. I am actually the background artist.
He is.
And I also animated the opening sequence.
Which is so kick-ass.
Amazing opening you all love at the start of the episode. That's Derek.
That wonderful spacey movie thing that begins each episode. Episode 2's coming. Anyway, so Derek, when you're not Frontier Zeroing, what are you doing with your computer
With my
device?
computer
I mean,
device.
you can't just be editing for us. Yeah, you can't just be editing all day. You must do something else.
Well, I do have a degree in arts and a minor in game design, so I've been playing a lot of video games for the most part.
Surely you jest. A video
Surely.
game?
A
video
video
gamer
game.
with a video game degree? That's just nonsense. What kind of puffery is that?
I know, right?
Have you ever heard of
Who
such a
studies
thing?
video games that just
Yeah.
plays video games? What is this?
Video games are the work of the devil. Anybody who'd go get a video game degree should just go to hell and work for Satan.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of hell in video games, so I guess that's just standard. I mean, seriously, how many scenes of lava and hellish places and the devil and Satan and demons? How much hell is really in video games when you think about it? A lot.
Hell on your computer to render all that out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the code isn't 010, it's 6666666. Well, what kind of video games did you want to make, or are you trying to make? What do you
I don't know. Whatever I feel like.
What do you feel like? What's your genre?
What games
Everyone's
do you
got a
play? What
genre.
are the games that I want to make something like this? This is my jam.
Well, anything by Blizzard is like my main jam.
Overwatch, baby, yeah.
Okay, so you're more...
Yeah, play quite a bit of Overwatch,
probably-
Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone,
Or
World
their
of Warcraft.
flagship. I mean, I was just going to say, when people think Blizzard, they normally think of that all-encompassing monopoly of fantasy, World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
With the trolls and the fairies and the lady! Yeah, but so what do you... I mean, I know you do background for us, but do you do concept design, character design? What are you trying to get into with that Blizzardy stuff?
Oh, I'm going into 3D modeling and animation.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, the kind of stuff
He's
that
gonna
I'm like kind of doing a little bit of that Frontier with the fact that I use 3D programs to make those backgrounds.
Fun
Now
fact
I
about
get
the
it.
series there.
You're gonna make those... Now I get it. You're gonna make those NPCs in the background character that everybody makes memes about, aren't you? That's what you really want to do.
I mean, that's a real goal in life, isn't it?
I knew it.
To become a meme.
Only the dankest of memes will suffice.
I
That's
guess.
hard to say. I haven't been
I-
a gamer, like a hardcore gamer, for a long time, personally. I don't know, like, back when I was, from age 10 to 16, oh yeah, everything. After that, you hit college and you sort of forget you have a console. People, yeah,
Well,
some people.
who needs a console? PC
Yeah,
Master Race.
my last console was a Wii, which, as we all know, kind of, hit a nosedive there for a bit and kind of got taken over by the Sony Playbox and the X Station and whatever the hell else there is out there.
Don't forget
But
the Game
yeah,
Sphere.
Oh, yes, the Okama Game Sphere, yes. Absolutely. It's a classic.
I mean,
And who the hell even remembers a Dreamcast anyway? I certainly don't.
Play my Power Stone. Fucking sweet.
As bad as the Wii did, at least it didn't suck as bad as Sega.
I love it.
Suck on that, Sonic.
I don't even know who owns Sonic anymore. It's been through So every time I don't follow the.
It's still Sega.
I don't follow the Sonic games, but every time I see it on social media, nobody's happy about it.
Well, several people have the rights
Basically.
to Sonic, including Cartoon Network. Warner Brothers, I believe, has some.
Their Sonic show is surprisingly funny. Just the
Well,
writers. have
it's
so
a
much fun
com-
with
Well,
that.
here's the thing
It's a comedy.
what I feel about Sonic Boom is that it's good in clips. Full-on episodes, I can't enjoy the show watching it all the way
Oh,
through,
yeah.
but it's good
Oh,
for
yeah.
little jokes and clips.
I agree, because I've seen episodes of it, always a snore fest. But then you see these compilation videos on the internet of all the good jokes. It's like, what that tells me is the show itself sucks, but if you go hunting around, there's always gems, and it's kind of like Vine. You throw all the good ones together and have a laugh.
Well, no
Well,
show
thank you,
or even
Sonic
video
Boom.
game is without any. I mean, if there are, please tell me to avoid them. But they all got something going for them.
Well, I mean, there are some. I mean, but then you got big rigs. You know, I don't know if you guys are aware, but there are games like Big Rigs that are so infamously bad that really how bad they are is just how many flaws you see in laughing at them. I mean, some games are great like
Remember the
that.
Big Rig special on X-Play.
Uh-huh.
They did their worst video games ever, and Big Rig was there.
Because it's a broken game that was somehow sold in stores. It's literally, okay, for those who don't know, Big Rigs is just a game. You take a truck, and that's about it. You just drive around. You're supposedly in a race, but the other car doesn't move. So you're just driving, breaking all known laws of physics. You go you go faster going backwards than forwards, and nothing stops you. From what I understand, like, no objects, no obstacles get in your way. You just free reign. Big Rigs. It's
Somebody just came out with a.
yeah.
Just go to a big white
Somebody
void.
just came up with a driving engine for the game and then stopped there, I guess.
Or maybe they didn't start. Okay, I'm me personally, I'm picturing a Tron scenario where they were working on Big Rigs. They got sucked into the game, and then that's it. They just went hitchhiking because no one wants to drive a fucking truck. Yeah, but for every Big Rigs, there's good games too. Like, I don't know. I guess the last game I finished was a Pokemon game, but that was for Game Boy.
Well, let's talk about. We haven't really talked about games in this show before. Like, what are our favorite games? Let's just name like a few of our favorites. Just go around.
Well, most of my favorite games are either, again, on a Game Boy or from the Nintendo 64 console from way back.
Yeah, still, a
when
game
we
is a
were
game is a
kids.
game. What's like the games that really stuck with you?
Okay, well, that would be the N64 games like Mario 64, Super Smash Brothers, Mario 64, James Bond, 007.
Oh god, GoldenEye
like
and the
that.
64 was so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm from that same generation
Well,
as you, man. I mean, the 64 was my.
Well, it's-
I bought every game back then.
Well,
I think that was all
that
of our
was our-
childhoods.
yeah, that was our console. Yeah, that was the one we grew up with. Today, the kids got their X Cubes and their Okama Game Spheres, but nah, we had real manly consoles like the N64. And
Games that did not autosave.
yeah,
Remember?
that's right. We had games that could actually get corrupted by
You could've-
dust that you had to take them out and blow
Oh god,
on.
yeah. You could have played a game for 12 hours straight, get to the last level, but then the game would the console would overheat and then shut down, and you would scream into the void. Because you did not save.
And we had games that required restrictive wires to connect with their controllers. Not like today, those kids with their wireless control making seamless interface between players possible. Convenient.
No, you had to buy a second
kinda way is that to
controller,
play?
and it usually was a color.
And our controllers, we had this big giant rumble pack that's stuck on
the
the back of the
rumble
life
pack, man, they
support
used to come
box.
separate.
I mean, I'm just saying our games were manlier. Our games always had big auxiliary things like that made it look like it was on life support.
Games were the Dark Souls of video games.
They were great, and then they died, and they got taken over by Playbox. I don't know. What's a good PlayStation game?
Oh, come on.
I grew up with PS2.
I
as well.
got the PS2 was my next console, and the game that still probably my favorite game of all time is Metal Gear, and it was I mean it's a classic.
Which one, dude? There's like a billion Metal
The
Gear games.
original,
You gotta be
well,
more
not the
specific.
original. The original was technically in like the 80s and like some console I've never heard of, but the original that
Not technically. The original was a Nintendo one from the original box.
I don't even remember.
It's
It was like made for some
Metal
special
Gear.
console in Japan or something. I don't remember. But the Twin Snakes one, it was just called Metal Gear Solid at the time. I think it came out in 99 or 2000.
Right.
That is a classic game. That reinvented stealth games, you know?
Yeah, I was a big fan of 3, actually.
Oh, three's great. I mean, all the
kinda
ones
remember
that...
And then there was 4 afterwards, which was a great movie.
Well, okay, that's when games started
12
becoming.
hours of cutscenes.
Yeah, but that's around the
if you
time
look at
games
the
started
gameplay.
becoming interactive movies rather than games. So, Red Dead Redemption.
Even the Metal Gear 4 was like, well, okay, no, it was a movie. That one was a movie.
It was straight up a
I
movie.
mean, I was going to say 5 had like
There's
some
plenty of
really
movies.
cool gameplay, but then 4 was just a movie with like half an hour of gameplay in between there.
Well, I mean, that's how games were going for a while. Hell, look at Heavy Rain. That is a movie that you click. For God's sakes, that's just the way games went for a while. I mean, I think there's more of an emphasis on gameplay now, but I mean, back in the late PS2 era, I guess there were a lot of movie kind of games.
Yeah, it was becoming a fad to have cutscenes, and like people were just like, "Look at the graphics." I mean, I remember
Final
when
Fantasy
like
X
early.
completely took advantage of the PS2's hardware and just
Oh, and need we forget Final Fantasy games, which were basically nothing but big old graphics expositions. That's all people really care about ever is the
I gotta be
graphics.
honest, I never play any of the Final Fantasy games. I'm barely aware of the 7th because it's the most popular, but I know nothing of it.
Well, that makes 2 of us. I've never played it, but I follow the story on snarky review websites. But yeah. But not all the games were just about the cutscenes. Some of them had just as good of action as they did of cinematics. And I personally, when I was a kid, I was addicted to Kingdom Hearts for a while. Kingdom Hearts era was pretty good, though 3 is in the ever stages of purgatory. It's like every couple of years they say,
I remember
we're
the
close
E3
to
where
finishing.
there's that E3 that got announced probably like 3 years ago, and then we just
Maybe
haven't heard about it.
another 3 or 4 years, maybe. We got to get the rights to Darth Vader first. We're going to add him in the
Oh yeah,
mod.
that's a theory of why it's taking so long,
Yeah.
because it was like,
Yeah.
hey, we bought Marvel, we need have Marvel characters in there, and then
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're almost done, we put a Marvel level in there. Hey, we just bought Star Wars, we need to put that in there now.
Don't!
I want to
It's
fight
like-
Darth
See,
Vader.
yeah.
That would be a great
Yeah,
optional
See, and
boss
now they
fight.
just bought Fox
They
now.
just
so,
bought Fox, so they could actually have the Xenomorph in there if they wanted.
yeah, what
I
are they
don't
going to get
know.
from Fox that they want to put in Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, God. I guess they could put X-Men characters if they really wanted to. I don't know why.
With Fox, we're probably going to go to Springfield one
Oh
day.
yeah, that's exactly. what
Personally,
puts it
oh,
in there.
that's right. Oh my God. Though
Just
personally,
just-
I do want to see.
I don't think I
wanna
want to see that. I don't think I want to see Soradol and Goofy yellow skinned.
Yeah, I'd rather see them yell at Darth Vader. I'd rather see them yell with a big lightsaber keyblade. That'd be fucking rad. Yeah, well, as long as he keeps buying shit. I mean, eventually Star Trek is going to be a Kingdom Hearts level too. What do you think, Baldy? Make
I
it
mean,
so.
Kingdom Hearts is going to become just the world. They're going to own the world. Every franchise property. Godzilla is going to show up.
This is mine now. I own this shit.
Yeah, that's right. I own Tatooine. I own the X-Men. It's all mine. Huh? Thanks, Mickey. Thank you for delaying Kingdom Hearts inevitably forever. God, I was a freshman in high school when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and 3 is still... It's like a never-ending video game limbo. Has any game ever taken so long to come out? I think Kingdom Hearts holds
Well,
some
there's
kind of
Duke
record.
Duke Nukem was like the record.
Oh.
Right?
That was the notorious one, yeah.
How long does that... I mean, is
I
that
think
still in
that was
purgatory?
17 years or something.
Oh, so
like-
that does hold the record then.
Yeah, I remember there was a joke about how most dogs didn't were living during that timeline between developments.
That's actually kind of funny. I bet gamers' dogs were still alive at the time, too. They were looking forward to...
One that I remember had a long development hell was Alien Colonial Marines, which was a piece of crap. But, yeah, I remember that was in production for, like 8 or 10 years, and you just... Why?
Is that in the Alien universe? I'm talking
It's an
xenomorphs here.
Actually, they said it was
Okay.
official, but I don't know if they retracted that because nobody really liked it. It was supposed to be an official sequel, sequel, really, for the Aliens movie. What happened to Hicks? What happened to the Colonial Marines that we never got to see again that maybe everybody loved and wanted?
I assume that they're xenomorph shit by now.
Well,
Or
I mean,
some
I
such
guess we
thing.
can spoil it. Nobody really cares about this game. It was a big disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, Hicks survived somehow. Like, it was a whole thing like, oh, Alien 3 was not Hicks. Hicks, that was some dummy that looked like Hicks for some reason, and Hicks actually survived and came back to the planet and kicked Colonial ass. I mean, Xenomorph ass with the other Marines, and yay, but...
Yeah, I mean, the only other Alien game I've ever played is, I don't remember what it's from, but it's actually a modern one, where basically all you do is survive
Isolation.
it. You can't
Isolation.
fight the alien.
You're playing Ripley's
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah, basically, and it's a really effective idea.
Let's Plays of
Yeah,
it.
it's pure survival. You're literally trying to hide from it. If you take too long, it will find you. And the whole point of the game is to try to be creative. You can fight it off once or twice, but you're limited to what you can do. So it's basically it's a big old stealth time limit, which I thought was pretty effective.
Yeah, I mean, some games just to get more creative. It's not just a shoot 'em up. You know, it's thinking on your feet. It's more about puzzles or just following a path, and just the environment is like, I think one of the most famous games that avoids the whole like you got to fight everything was Shadow of the Colossus. Everybody know that one?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Dude,
That just got
even
re-released, I think, on the
non-gamers,
PS4.
I've heard about it. I haven't
was
really
gonna
seen
say.
the trailer.
By
but
definition.
I mean, that's a
even non-gamers know about that one game where you play a tiny little man trying to take down giant monsters in the most creative way possible, I guess.
that's a good game. I only played some
Yeah,
levels.
it's actually very interesting on on the development side of in terms of the animation that was used in that game, because the thing
Really?
is that there weren't key animations made for the main character. It's all generated based off your basically the physics engine. So you're able to do some pretty funny stuff in it. Like I remember like replaying at one
interesting.
point, and I actually didn't know this my first time playing through. Second time playing through, I realized I was able to like jump off the horse. And I like reached it, like trying to jump towards this like random little bird, like basically like a pigeon or something. I was able to grip onto it and fly off into the sky because of the physics engine.
That is pretty neat.
I guess Team Rocket's blasting off again. Ding.
What I remember,
Oh, that's actually really revolutionary for the time, for PS2 era, especially the graphics on that game.
what I remember most about that
Well,
game was the
the-
atmosphere, because that game really unnerved me, man. I mean, it terrified me. It's just the Titans felt really scary, and the fact that you're just alone walking in this empty field and lakes and mountains, and it just, I don't know, it just
Nothing
really
but a sword
felt.
and your horse. Yeah.
It was one of the maybe even the first game, because I was used to more like fun, like racing games and Mario Kart and that kind of thing at that point, and then I played this, and I'm like, totally different experience, you know.
Well, I mean, the game, for one thing, I heard that the game was praised like no other in terms of detail, because it's a giant game, so you got to focus on a whole lot of details.
Yeah, it's very
Again,
original in a lot of ways, man, especially at the time.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I first got a look at that game, which was limited, I'll be honest. But I always just pictured, the last level of Hercules. You're Hercules fighting the Titans. You're fighting these big giant things, and you got to find some way to bring them down without dying. That was my impression first going into it. I know there's a lot more to it, but still, it's just the idea of playing a small man taking on big giant monsters. It's kind of a cool concept.
Way before Attack on
He
Titan.
released Spiritual Season
God.
recently, which I haven't played, but I heard it's pretty good.
Oh, Last Guardian.
Yeah. It's a different game, but it has a similar like style.
Yeah, it's like in the same universe. That's actually the third in the series. I forget which one's the first one, first and second one, but there was Shadow Colossus.
Well, the
and
second one is the second one is Birth by Sleep, isn't it? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Kingdom Hearts' many sequels again. God damn Kingdom
No, it
Hearts.
was
Anyway,
blanking on the name of that one.
I
I think it was Umi or something.
I've never. I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember it. But yeah, no, there was one earlier on. But there are a lot of classic games, man, especially from that time. I don't know. The one that really stuck with me during high school, like at the very end of it, was Battlefront 2.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yes.
classic
One of-
Battlefront
Good
2.
Battlefront 2.
I mean, isn't that
Yeah,
the
the
only
good one,
Battlefront
not the
that people
recent
talk
one.
about?
Oh no,
I was
not-
just going to
not
say,
that
I think whenever anybody praises any Battlefront, it's always Battlefront 2. It's got a Street Fighter thing going for it. Whenever anybody thinks the good one, they think the second one for some
Yeah, the
reason.
first one wasn't bad,
really
but the
left an
second one was
impression.
just like a really more polished and extended version of that. It's really fun. It's a really.
It really was.
You could.
Well, for a war game, that's impressive, because literally all you do is take control of stormtroopers.
Yeah,
and
for
have
our
them
young
fight shit.
viewers, this was the same game, but not the same game you played right now that came out last year. This is 2006?
Just go on Steam. Next time there's a sale, it goes on sale for like $2 every sale.
Here's the kicker.
Just get it.
You can play as the Jedi and the Sith characters without having to get the loot packages or prepay them or whatever.
See, you pay $2 and like there you go. There's the entire game. You get all the Jedi. In fact, there's actually there's a game mode where you play. You can only do it on Mos Eisley, but there's a game mode where you can do where everyone plays as Jedi and hero characters.
Yeah, it all depends on your preference of carnage. Do you want to kill people with lasers, or do you want to blast them up with laser swords? Do you want to use the Force to choke a bitch, or do you want to set a bomb?
This might sound like it's all concept to some people, but it's like games now are so. Derek, you might know how to explain this better than me, but you know what I'm talking about. Like they don't give you buy the whole price, but they don't give you the full game. They give you
the microtransaction fad has hit the game industry.
Yeah,
really
that's
hard.
actually been that's been more of a recent thing. The reason why loot boxes have been more prominent lately is because the price to make a game has risen over time, and realistically, the average consumer doesn't want to pay more than $60 for a game. Like there was a big backlash when it went from 50 to 60. So they basically the companies basically have to make their money in different ways.
Well, and and unfortunately things like that have to happen because gaming is such an expensive hobby. I mean, my God, it's just like you just said, $60 for a game is considered the standard. God knows how much a new console would cost. Not to mention all the stuff you got to have with it, controllers, internet preferably, but like it's. Overwatch is one of the most popular games of all time right now, and it's all about loot boxes that everyone complains about.
At least with Overwatch, I mean, it's not like you
Well, that's all cosmetic.
Yeah, it's just sort of bonus.
That's
but
you don't
dude,
really need.
but dude, I know tons of people who play only for the cosmetics. It's basically just a big game of dress up for them. They just want to get the best costume they like to go and show it off.
Yeah, but that's a choice. It's like you don't need to pay extra money in order to play the game or part of the game. That's just, hey, if you want your character to look more like this, you can spend a little extra for your own pleasure. That's fine. But
that's the genius of it. They will, because like I said, there are so many suckers out there who literally just play the game to put on pretty clothes.
What Derek said, that's how they make a little profit. But at the same time, there's a difference between that and what there's some companies are doing now, which is more like, we'll give you like a quarter or half the game for the full price. Then like a year or half a year later,
basically Battlefront 2.
You get to pay again.
Well, Battlefront 2. The thing about that was, even if you bought like the Game of the Year edition, which is I think it was like $80 for that, you still needed to get loot boxes to unlock the hero characters, and it's heavily incentive. You have incentive to basically give them money in order to buy these loot boxes, and you get power for money. So that's pay the win.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You have to spend extra money to get the basic stuff that you would expect is standard in a game.
Yeah,
exactly.
A lot of shit for that.
That's ridiculous.
See, that's the difference between paying a little
it.
for something extra versus paying for what you already paid.
So let me get this straight. Like, if I applied that logic to my previous games, I would have to pay a separate fee to get Luigi with Mario.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That sucks ass.
And it's not just Luigi; it's a bunch of other characters in this case, and weapons.
I mean, that's like playing Ocarina of Time. That's like Ocarina of Time and saying you can only get the Master Sword to complete the game if you if you slip us another 20.
Yeah,
Fuck
and it
you.
immediately creates a schism, in the players because some players are young; they don't have credit cards or that kind of money, and some are 40-year-old dudes, like half. And you just the game starts, it's uneven, they already have all the advantages because they paid for it.
I mean,
Although to be fair, there's also the other side of it. To give an example, I play quite a bit of Hearthstone, and I'm a free-to-play player, and I actually do all right just because I just do a daily quest and I use gold to get my cards. You can spend money. You can spend money to get more packs, and most people will complain that game is pay to win. But if you know how to play, if you play well, you can work with what you have.
Sure, I mean it's like hell, even free mobile games do that where like you can pay to get the stuff you need to play the game, or you can just be really patient and just save and do it yourself.
Yeah, use the in-game currency to buy
Right. There you go. Which
but then
you have
there's the fair point that not everyone has the time to do that though.
Oh yeah, dude, we all got jobs, man. We all got income to make.
Clearly not everyone.
Damn kids. No, I'm just saying, like, but see, the older gamers of today were the ones that got everything for free in the 80s and 90s, you know? We're the ones whose parents bought us shit. Now, when we're in our 30s and early 40s, we're starting to think, oh god, I missed when we didn't have to pay for this stuff by ourselves. Especially since,
And then they wise up and just get a PC and go on Steam.
hell yeah, man. PC Gamer right here. PC Gamer right here. That's exactly why I do it.
Just get a cheap indie game and you're good to go.
Right. Just get a Steam account. Steam's cheap. I like Steam. Steam's really reliable for good cheap games.
They have a lot of sales going on at random moments.
And they're good sales.
Like, you can also get a few
like,
classic games for really cheap. Like I always recommend to people Psychonauts 99 cents basically every sale.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hell, even our buddy Jasor, you know, Lord Jasor, guy who voiced with us. I've bought Steam games that he's in, and most of them are pretty damn fun. So yeah, Steam games, they got a lot of
Steam is a good place not just for the big, not just for the
Totally
big games,
intended.
but a lot of indie artists, put their games there, and that's how they get noticed.
Yeah, little games are great too. They don't have to be. Big budget monsters are appreciated. They're great. They're beautiful. They're fun. But I like little games. That's what I used to play. Little games. They were big back then, but they've changed. But I still go online and I'll play a little bit of Apotheon now and again. It's a smaller game, but I love it.
Check it out. It's really good.
Yeah, I've been playing this early access game lately that I've just been addicted to called Slay the Spire. It's just a simple deck building game that's it's a roguelike deck building game, and I have a lot of fun with it.
Describe it.
It's like basically
How does one become Royal Crown Chimpoko Master in that game?
So the gameplay is that you start with a deck of cards which have like really basic cards, and you have a dungeon you're going through, and it's like a branching path where one you'll fight a monster, one you'll find treasure. And you pretty much choose where you want to go, and as you go on and fight bigger monsters, you get more cards in your deck. So it becomes kind of a...
It's like D&D.
Kind of. It's like kind of a dungeon run kind of thing. Like, I actually got into it because Hearthstone recently did a special mode called Dungeon Run, which is a free-to-play mode, where basically you were given random cards, and you were able to go through different PvE bosses. And then I heard about this game being very similar, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Well, how many monies do you have to pay extra to get the cards that you need to play the game?
There is
they do that with this?
No, they actually. I don't think there's any microtransactions. Also, this is not sponsored. I feel like I'm praising a game that I'm not sponsoring. I just really enjoy this game.
Hey man, that's gamer blogging in a nutshell. Literally, all gamers do on review shows and shit is just pimp the hell out of games they love or hate. Free publicity, man. So, hey, join the club, I guess.
But no, I'm just having fun just because it's a lot of randomly generated things. You don't know what cards you're going to get. You don't know what extra passive abilities you're going to unlock. And everyone's different.
Every experience is unique.
Some games are really out there, and they're really dark. I remember a friend of mine was introducing me to different indie games he discovers through Steam. This one really messed me up a little. Just I only saw the beginning, but still. It was called Little Red Lie, I think, and it was about depression, I think. It shows like conversations about this girl and how she's dealing with bills, and her parents want her to move out of the house and get married, and she's dealing with depression at the same time. It's like inner monologue of self-doubt and pity and hatred. It's like, what is this?
That's not a game. You just stumbled upon someone's very depressing
No,
blog.
it's a game. It's a game. You're playing. It's more like a movie game thing. You're just sort of like making choices. Like, will you do this? Will you help Emily or whatever her name was and do this? And it's...
Yeah, I think they call those cinematics. Again, it's like Heavy Rain. It's a choice game. It plays, but you're kind of clicking when and where to do stuff.
It's kind of like a low version of the Telltale games, where you just go through the story, but you make choices at different points.
That's what I'm saying. It's
like click adventure.
I think wait. There's a term for that. Real time games, something like that. I forget. Something like real time. I don't know.
Real time strategy.
Yeah, something like that. It's where your choices make a difference, but you don't really act. You don't take action yourself. You're not in control of the character, so to speak. You are, but it's weird. It's a click game, not a. you're not shooting stuff. You're just
whatever they're
choosing,
called.
do I trust this person?
Kind of like a Telltale game.
Yeah, the Telltale games are really fun.
Telltale.
I really enjoy the Batman one that came out recently, the Borderlands, and I think before that they did The Wolf Among Us. Yeah.
They do have very good art style to them.
Fun stories.
But it doesn't have any blue. It doesn't have any blue shells or lightning though, so there's nothing I can do about that. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I do miss competitive racing games where you actually used weapons. I'll be honest. When I was growing up, one of my favorite series of all time was the Twisted Metal series. Who here played that?
I remember that.
I know of it. I haven't played it though.
I played it. I remember playing Twisted Metal.
Hell,
that and Crash Team Racing were my go-to racing games.
Yes, but they weren't just. That's the beauty of it. They weren't just racing. I mean, they weren't just driving games. You beat the crap out of people with weapons. That was always what I liked
Mario
best.
Kart,
I like lots of weapon variety.
Bananas and shells at people.
That's the point. It's all about weapons variety in those games. You didn't go for the races. You didn't give a crap about that. You just wanted to beat people up and trip them. And
yeah, exactly.
It just
no, man,
knock them
that's
off
all
the
about
ledge.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Just reenact all of your Mad Max fantasies.
I played Mario Kart every time just so I could, in the hopes that I could knock someone off a ramp and into the river and just drive on by like I don't see nothing. Bitch, I win.
But that Diddy Kong Racing, though.
Diddy Kong, I love that game.
Or jetpack, tiny little chimpanzee jetpack, I guess. I still have no idea how that damn thing works. Donkey Kong weapons always fascinated me. They're just barrels and logs of wood that are trimmed to look like weapons. But it's like, how does that work exactly?
I mean, Mario just jumps on people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's got super plumber legs, and hell, Luigi jumps even farther than he does. I don't know. I guess their blood just has rabbit feet in it. I don't know. They got rabbit feet and a cheetah blood, I guess.
Yeah, but speaking of that, let's talk about fighting games, because I think we all had at least one fighting game we played to death.
Dude, everyone, gamer and non-gamer alike, have played
what
fighting games.
What was your
fighting standard game? Pick up and play.
What was your fighting game?
Mine? Well, I was a Mortal Kombat kid growing up. I was all about Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I really loved the Game Boy version, but yeah, I was all about Mortal Kombat, even though I couldn't do half the finishing moves.
Nobody could.
Yeah, God knows I tried.
No, I was actually all Soul Calibur, only because of 2, where I had the GameCube version, so Link was in it. I was like, hey, I could play as Link in this game.
I was just gonna say that's the main draw is being able to play specialized characters like him.
If we're talking about Link,
although it got kind of stupid. It got kind of stupid in 4, where they added in Yoda and Darth Vader.
That's right.
Which is
I'm
weird.
not even
You think
kidding.
that'd be awesome?
They were playable
you
characters.
think that'd be awesome? Well, it's like it kind of defeats the purpose because it's a sword fighting game. It's a weapon fighter game, and yet they use the Force, so that kind of defeats the purpose. You know. They can just force choke a bitch.
The lightsaber would cut through all of their weapons.
That's right. I mean, unless they're magic.
We're not looking
shit,
for
like
sense here, Anthony. We're looking for blood.
Yeah, this is fighting games are like the quintessential don't make sense games. Because if you ever noticed, no matter how much you beat them up or bloody them or cut them or rip them in half, they always heal a millisecond later. It's like, what the hell? Even as a kid, I thought, I'm like, okay, I just tore him apart, and now he's back to normal. What the? They don't stay dead until the very end. I always found that weird.
But if you're talking about like a fighting game that pushed that to the limits, man, it was Super Smash.
I guess. I mean, well, yeah, Super Smash Brothers was my favorite fighter game, but only because every one of my favorite characters. Okay, everybody has their own Super Smash character. Who's everyone's standard? Everyone here's played it. Who's your standard?
Kirby. I'm gonna go with Kirby.
Okay.
Yeah, you should stick with Link.
Link, good.
I liked Captain Falco before he was nuked.
Yeah. Well, everyone just loved him because he had the most adorable things to say. Punch! Show me your moves. Falcon kick. And me, well, I'm a big bastard, but I just love playing Pikachu. Nobody could touch me.
The thing about Pikachu was awesome when
Pikachu was kind of great in the original. Yeah, Thunder
I
was the main reason.
I was cheap as shit with that Thunder. Because there's tons of places you can hide under, like, and they'd be way up, and you just like, bye.
I just loved sucking people and just spitting them out outside the barrier.
I'm sure you did, Lewis, but how did you like Kirby?
Oh, okay.
No, but actually, I love I loved Kirby too, but no, Kirby I loved because he was the cheapest ass fighter there. I loved him, but god damn it, like half of his moves you couldn't escape. Like anytime you were caught up in one, you were there until he was done. It's like, okay, I'm just here until your spinny kick stops.
Oh, the spinny kicks.
So how are your kids?
I never like absorb people. You remember you could do that? I think would get like the top of the head as like a hat or something.
Well, sure. Well, yeah. That's what Kirby does. He absorbs.
But I
whatever
never
he
did.
eats.
I played Kirby without ever doing that. It was just like so cool to play. Like,
well, that's because his main arsenal was enough. You didn't have to suck anybody up. That was more like a gimmick. Like he was powerful enough on his own. He had the best kick of anybody on that.
Man. I love
roster.
the cut move.
Well, yeah, his little sword move, and then I was cheap as hell with the rock. I loved a rock. I loved just flying over people that were distracted by each other, just dropping on all of them.
Kick them out of there.
Yeah, it was always the most fun because like that's where the size came in. Like two of your friends would be fighting somewhere, maybe three. You'd be flying over all of them, and then you could hear the size. Oh god, because they knew what you were gonna do.
Oh man, and that game. I mean, I only played the original, maybe a little bit of the second one, but the first one had the best items that would just roll randomly, and you'd never know. But whatever it was, it was super cool.
Yeah, Brawl. I didn't take to Brawl I didn't take to Melee very much. I liked Brawl a lot, but yeah, Melee I just never took to. I don't know why.
I mean, it was okay, I guess, but I just didn't have the magic of the first one.
Well, none of them did. It was an N64 game.
Yeah, I feel like I took most of them about the same until I got to Smash 4, where I felt like it got so competitive I just couldn't keep up.
And how? Good lord!
I remember. There's this one time that. I was in college at the time, and Smash 4 came out, and they were it just came out for only 3DS. The Wii version wasn't out yet, and there's this club on campus that was like, "Hey, we're doing a Smash 4 tournament." I'm like, "Cool, I'll try it out." I get there, and it is so many hardcore people. I literally saw a guy wearing fingerless gloves. I'm like, these people are too hardcore for me.
I know. It's like, dude, it really does seem like the more advanced games get, the more advanced the game gets, the more
it was taking place in this kind of general public lounge area for anyone to live on campus. And I remember being kind of near the door, and someone walked by, and he was like, "Man, it smells like computer science in there."
Oh, yeah. It smells like Teen Spirit. Teen Spirit smells like ass.
I mean, I can't speak. I haven't really been to a lot of tournaments, but whenever I've seen them, it does look like they take it more seriously than the NFL.
Oh, they do, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever been on TeamSpeak or in a you play Overwatch or any kind of team game where you're online with other people. I mean, you think they're bad online. You should see them in person. They get up. They flip shit. They're like, hey, it's like, guys, you realize you're looking at a screen, right? Jesus.
It's a game.
Put the popcorn down.
Fun, man. Not this.
It's like, well, some people are enjoying their hobby. Would you like a piece of bread? Perhaps a nap? But no, I mean, gamers are totally fun people, though, and I love game tournaments. The rare occasions I get to go to game tournaments, or maybe E3 or something like that, they are a spectacle to behold. They are totally fun, but yeah, every now and again, you'll get one that takes it too seriously, and they just ruin everything.
Well, it was a different time. I mean, back, if we're talking about, classic games and all that stuff, there was a time where I enjoyed video games more on, arcades and back home,
Oh, God, I remember arcades. I remember, I don't know if you ever go to, a place like Castles and Coasters where they have this massive, one big room arcade, and it's you go over and there's a million games to choose from. But you always go to your favorites first. For me, it was Primal Rage. I always went looking for Primal Rage.
For me, it was my favorite arcade game, and even now, whenever I still see, a collection of machines anywhere, I'm like, oh, God, please let them have it, because I will play it. It was Hydro Thunder.
I gotta go Time Crisis.
Yeah. You like Time Crisis?
Is just
what was that about?
I don't know what's up with it. I just like shooting people.
That sounds familiar. Can you describe it?
It's one of those ones where it's one of those games where you have the physical gun.
Remember, you had the blue or red gun, and you had a pedal, action.
Oh, okay.
Action.
Yeah, pedals
how
you duck when you do the pedal, and then you reload that way.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of like Area 51,
Yeah,
kind
like-
of
yeah,
like that game.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
I think that was like
I
the
gotcha.
original of those.
those are fun. Yeah, those were. I mean, those kind of games were parodied in Wreck-It Ralph. That was basically whatchamacallit. That was hero's duty of that time. That was like, you were the user, you were taking on a tour and just shooting shit and trying not to die.
It was like $1 to play one of those games twice, and somehow that seemed too expensive back then.
Yeah, 50 cents each, and you had to have a buttload of quarters, and you always had to ask your parents for more. Yeah, Anthony, what was your arcade game? What was your standard?
I like going to Tekken.
Tekken.
Just any version of the Tekken franchise.
Oh, Tekken? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tekken, the button masherest game ever.
Would always be at the arcade.
Yep.
So
Any fighting game at the arcade, I just
Yeah.
mash buttons.
I remember I was really into the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in the arcade. I think it was the first one or the second one.
Everybody loved that. Like people, that was
you
Yeah.
can play as all four turtles.
that one and the
Yeah, the
Simpsons one.
Simpsons.
Those two
Oh,
were
yeah, the
like
Simpsons
hand
one.
in hand.
March
Yeah.
with the vacuum.
The Simpsons arcade was
Go to
like
Shakey's all the time
Yeah.
and play that one.
that's a legendary arcade game. That's like everybody played that.
Yeah. Well, that and air hockey, but that's
Yeah, but that's not a game. Games have little pixelated people that you shoot. It gives you power. There was another arcade game that I was addicted to. It was 3 players, or maybe 4. It was a fantasy game. You picked one of 3 guys. You could either be an archer, a sorcerer, or a knight.
Gauntlet.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I had that for the.
I played
that was on
that
Nintendo 64.
every time.
It was on GameCube. Yeah. Is it the
Oh,
one? Is the one with the
okay. Yeah.
the voiceover like yellow
Yeah.
wizard has gained.
Yeah,
a
the
level.
very cheap
that guy.
voiceover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that drove me crazy. I used to play that all the time with my brother. Anytime we went to the theme park, we'd always go there and we'd always play that game. It rocked.
There was
right after
that.
Primal.
I never actually found the Don Bluth one, the Dragon Lair, I think it was called.
Oh, Dragon Light.
Dragon's Lair. Oh, that's an old piece of work. That thing.
I always wanted to
Yeesh.
find that one. I remember
That was
the original
That was
cutscene.
well,
game.
right there. Well, that was a point and click game right there. That was just playing a movie.
Not even point and click. That was just it was just nothing but QuickTime events. Was the entire game.
Yeah, that was
Right.
just impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
It was,
Yeah, you just,
from
like-
what I've seen of it.
Well, because you could never react fast enough. The animation, it's Don Bluth, so it's going to be really fast and really.
Yeah, you're so captivated by the animation that you forget
Manic.
you're playing.
Really appealing.
Yeah, I could never finish it. I got I got to Beethoven. That's when I always lost. There's a level where you're like playing on Beethoven's piano, and after that, that's where I always
Did
lost.
any of you ever manage to get like a decent prize? Remember, you could always get tickets and get like a bear or something.
I got a lava lamp once.
That's nice.
It cost
one time I
3,000
got a
tickets,
camera.
but I saved up for months.
Respect, man. That's a good one.
I think
That's actually
I
pretty
think it's
good.
currently sitting in a storage shed somewhere.
You keep
That's
that
cool.
lantern, man, 'cause that's a testament. I don't.
That's like a
I
$10
got a
lamp
pla-
that I spent months and probably like $30 on tickets.
But hey, that's a trophy, man. You can't buy the pride you get when you beat that arcade and you take one of their you plunder them. You take one of their treasures.
Exactly, man. I mean, you're an adult now. You could just buy one for nothing, but it's like, no, I earned that through months of.
I'm an adult. So many things to throw on the ground.
I mean, I could never get past like a
But
pencil
yes.
or something like that.
Well, the little kids, they always went up to the suckers bar and they always had those little finger
Yeah.
toys and cards and pogs and stuff.
Erasers. And
Yeah. Like I'll never forget when Pokemon first came out and like the little pencil ends, you put on the erasers, nothing but Pokemon from that day on. That's what the kids got. I got a plastic camera and a license plate. Yeah, there was this it was a decorative license plate, the kind like you decorate your wall with. It had a specialized thing on it. It said Fat Boy. I don't know why, but yeah, there's a little license plate that says Fat Boy, and I got my camera, and I'm just taking them out like a player. I won your prizes, bitch. I conquered this gym.
This is my badge.
Mm-hmm. Suck it.
I really
my
miss
Fat Boy
arcades,
license
man.
plate.
I don't know why they died out like they did.
They still exist, but mostly in special
I mean,
places
they
and
are
nostalgic
literally
places.
one
You
step.
gotta hunt them down,
Yeah,
but they are
they
there.
are literally one step away from being the next blockbuster.
Yeah, they already are, but like I said, the only people who go into play arcade games or who have arcades open, that's for nostalgia people. I mean, I'm sure kids play it too, but that's mostly for us in the 30s and 40s who are like nostalgic for that
I mean,
stuff.
like there was a bowling place where I lived. I think you were there, Paul. They had like 5 machines in the corner, like you can tell they had from like the last owner or something.
Oh, yeah, but that's a standard. There's 2 laws of bowling. 1, there's always an arcade, and 2, you either went to the arcade or you played the boring dumb ball game. That's it. You either left mom and dad and played that arcade, or you went and played the dumb ball game.
I did
Yeah,
both.
arcades are like exclusive to bowling alleys and pizza places.
That's right. And maybe a Chuck E. Cheese if you're desperate enough.
Oh, is that still around?
You
Are
want
there
to
still
be
Chuck E. Cheese's around?
Yeah,
Chuck E.
it's still
Cheese?
around.
Yeah.
I hear that you actually need
course
like
they
a
are.
kid to be with you in order to even get in.
which is good. I'm very grateful for that. Good lord. But I can't trust a play. I mean, the truth is, they made a whole game satirizing Chuck E. Cheese's, and that their reputation's pretty much ruined. It's nothing but Five Nights at Freddy's cosplayers harassing.
I mean, it was a
the
big
hell.
hit for kids, so I think it actually might have been profitable for them. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, if we're talking about memes, sure. I mean, it's kind of like the
No,
White Soda
kids love
effect,
that series. I don't know why.
Oh no.
Why are
Oh,
parents
I
buying
know.
this
I-
horror game for these kids? I don't understand.
Oh no. I know. I was surprised
I mean,
too. I mean,
kids,
it became like a My Little Pony style phenomenon. It was
Kids
that
now are
big.
more
It didn't-
desensitized to that kind of
Like
thing than
5
we were.
sequels after that.
Well, I mean, maybe they're just used to boo scare culture, where it's not about real fear; it's just about jumping out and freaking
That
out.
too,
I don't know.
probably. I mean, I'm sure it's just they're growing
But,
up with very
I mean,
different.
I
things
thought it
than
was
we
a
were.
clever-
I mean, these are more.
Okay, but I mean, I think Five Nights is a very clever game. That's a great concept, but
Yeah, it
the
was
fact
original
that
when it first came out.
Sure, but like now, I think there's 3 games of it, and
Oh no, there's
God,
like
the
7 games of
merchandise.
them now.
Oh, 7 now?
Like he
Jeez.
never stopped making them. The most recent one came out
But it's
maybe
like, what-
maybe like 3 months ago.
Okay, but like, other than adding characters and maybe a challenger, what is left to do? It's the same thing. Don't run out of power. Don't get caught. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
For the most part, depending on the game.
I don't know if like
Some have gone a little different.
I don't know. Like, I mean, game series. There are game series that have. I mean, Final Fantasy has like what 15, 16 at this point. It's
Yeah, but that's different. That's totally different. Final
oh man, why is
Fantasy
it called
is
Final Fantasy then?
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's a different question. I mean, should
Five
game
Nights at
series
Fantasy.
continue
Five
forever,
Nights at
or, like,
Fantasy.
I don't know, but
Game series are going to continue forever.
Continue
As long
as
as it
long as
keeps
it's
making
profitable.
money.
they have something to say.
That's
I'm not
right,
against
long as-
something new.
As long as it keeps taking quarters from the little chillins, it will always be merchandising. When a real money from Chuck E. Cheese is
I
made.
prefer game franchises that have like an ending, like the Uncharted ended. Thank God.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of games that have endings. But I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends if your game is like Zelda, where it's just multiple lifetimes of the same characters and it always has individual endings, or if it's one big long series that ends in a final climax, like say BioShock. BioShock ended.
I mean, it could be like Mass Effect, where like the main character story ended, but it's a whole universe.
Oh.
So I think they'll.
Yeah, in a way that everybody apparently hated. Apparently, everybody had something bad to say about
I
it.
didn't play. I only played the first two.
I just always say that Mass Effect 1, best story, not as good gameplay. Mass Effect 3, best gameplay, not as good story. 2 is the in-between.
It has the best balance.
2 is like the perfect Mass... 2 is the perfect Mass Effect.
Right.
And
Well, then,
we
I
don't
mean,
talk about Andromeda.
We don't talk about Andromeda.
I didn't even want to play that one.
I don't think anybody does.
I haven't even played that one. I love Mass Effect. I haven't even played that one.
I barely know Mass Effect, and even I know Andromeda is a swear word.
In the game community, it might as well be, I guess.
Yeah, it's, much like,
Didn't they have? I don't know if they had any of the original crew from BioWare working on
No,
it.
that's always a different thing when they bring a new crew. I remember it happened on the Arcane games too, because Rocksteady made the first two and everybody loved them, and then they brought in this new company, I don't know, some Canadian group.
you mean
No,
Rockstar?
Rocksteady was a company
No,
who made the.
no, it's a different company.
But for the third
Oh,
one,
I
which
was
was
gonna
the
say.
prequel one, they brought in this new company, and I remember people were pissed.
Well, no, the third one wasn't. No, it was the fourth one they were pissed about. The third one was like 6 out of 10. It shipped. It was like the most alright game of the year.
I mean, no, I didn't say I
The most-
played it.
it's
not
the
like
most-
a bad game. It's just compared to the last
Yeah,
two.
that's the thing. It's not a
Okay.
bad game at all. It's just not as good as Arkham City or Arkham
Yeah,
Asylum.
like Arkham
Okay,
2,
so-
really
so it's
expanded and improved on the game and the story and everything in every way. This one was almost a step back. It didn't really do anything new. It was like we just kept the same thing and gave you a story that was interesting, but then it was, oh no, it's the Joker again.
So it's the most alright game? I guess that beats the least bad? I don't know how ratings really
what
work
were-
anymore.
It
Yeah,
wins the
exactly.
Meh awards.
I mean, but it wasn't made by the original company, so a lot of people, that must be why. And maybe it's true. I don't know. I mean, it's always a mixed reaction when somebody else takes over something, you know.
Now, just one of those games that lands on. I love that Zero Punctuation does this every year now. When he does his top 5 best, top 5 worst of the year, he also does a top 5 most mediocre that did nothing really. It's like one of those.
The
Well,
game
he's just
rats,
a-
basically.
He's a snarky Susan. Well, he's a snarky Susan that likes to do that, so of course he's going to be all sarcastic.
You know, it's a game series that, I mean, as far as I've heard, went to hell was Star Fox.
Well, Star Fox already has a bit of a
Star
terrific
Fox
history.
is kind of an interesting one. Like, the first two were great. I loved
64 was a
and
classic.
then then Star Fox.
Everybody
Star
loves
Fox,
64.
Yeah, everyone loves 64. But Star Fox Adventures was not really a Star Fox game. It was meant to be a completely different game, and then they were like, "Hey, you got a fox here to hey, like, let's make it Star Fox." And then they just stuck in like a couple Arwing sections, and then completely cut out like the climax with the main villain. And it's like, "Oh no, it was Andros the entire time. Go fight him in your Arwing that you
And
used
nowadays-
a total of like
now-
4 times for this like whatever like 8-hour game. You maybe spent like 20
And
minutes. in.
nowadays,
This is the one where
But
they
nowadays,
introduced
of
the
course,
female
nowadays-
fox, right?
Yeah, that's like when they added that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And then there was like,
now
see, after that they had that DS one that was like, I think it was like kind of all right. I didn't really get into it. And then they had Assault on the GameCube. Again, it was just kind of all right. Then I haven't played Zero, the newer
The
one.
newer one, I remember I heard mixed
Is that what it's called? I
reviews.
forget.
Didn't they remake it for the DS?
There's one for the DS. It was like more of a strategy game. Yeah, it was like a bit of a mix. Which
HD remake.
actually, interesting thing about that one, it was actually kind of more like Star Fox 2, which was a canceled game. But Star Fox 2, I guess, was like 90% complete, but just was never released. But then when they made the NES or SNES Classic, they included that on there.
And it wasn't so good from
tripped at the finish line, did they?
So that game is actually complete, and it's out there now.
now, after years.
Out there?
Yeah,
for
after
all
years
to
like
see?
this, the Super Nintendo game is now available for people to play. It was actually at the last AGDQ, and I actually got to see it.
How is it exactly?
It's
I mean,
interesting.
what
It's
can
like
you-
interesting. It's like a mix between the original, but it's more of a like beat the clock kind of like strategy game. Where like it's more of like there's a bunch of planets out there, and Andros is shooting missiles from Venom, and like you have to like intercept them and attack certain bases, and it's all timed.
Well, I gotta be honest. That's one of the things I hate the most of any video game. I hate time limits. I hate them.
I think
totally suck out the experience
there are
for me.
times where it can suck, but there are also some games that I think make it work. I do love XCOM, Enemy Unknown. That's another one where I actually had to reset that game like 4 times before I actually beat it because it kept screwing up.
Well, we all know the feeling of having to save a game so you can fight some big part of it over and over and over again until a twist of luck helps you beat it.
Catch legendaries.
Exactly. You have to save a point, and then you know you're going to be spending the next few hours right there.
I mean,
playing Groundhog
if
Day.
we're going
over
to talk
and
about
over
all
and
kinds of
over.
video games, I mean, the one that we should definitely mention was the Pokemon games.
Oh, I don't think they need any introduction. We've all played them. We all know them. We can all quote them endlessly.
The fuck is a Pokemon?
How dare you? You know what? You know what? There are some lines we don't cross. That's it. You know, that does it. I'm done talking to you. We're finished. I'm not gonna stand here and let the good name of Pokemon be besmirched by this heathen. Who, by the way, who we call Derek and is a friend and works with us. And we love him. Hugs and
Love him?
kisses.
Oh, I
But
mean,
we have to
yes,
say
we do.
goodbye now. I'm just too upset by him. Anyway, along with this Pokemon hater is, again, a demon with grocery stores.
Falco, punch!
Oh, thanks for that! And, of course, the Lake with Sevens.
Pikachu. I'm kidding. Yes, I'm here.
Yep, and I'm your host, Starbeastrave.
And thank you all for joining us once more. Remember to like, subscribe, follow us here. We're also available on SoundCloud and iTunes. Check out Frontier Zero. Episode 2 is coming. And, DC Abridged stuff is always good. And thanks to our friend Derek, who we love, for joining us tonight.
Glad to be here.
Alright, now go play some damn games.